So yeah, we're just going to start it by basically saying, well, Dan's going to do it, about just, welcome. What do you, I don't know if you've thought.
I don't think we're going to do a welcome. I was just going to start off with a conversation and then to
Let's introduce her.
Yeah, no, we'll get to that bit.
Did you intend to wear the same clothes?
No. I was supposed to go home and put something like I'm in this coat.
As well.
We do look exactly the same, don't we?
Someone did say to me, "Look like brothers."
I haven't shaved my beard though because I'm doing the charity thing.
But I did mine, and look, little nice little gap going on.
Yeah, it looks great.
When we get in the flow of it, we'll need some sort of jingle.
Salisbury Business Podcast. Salisbury Business Podcast.
Whoa, just off the cuff?
Yeah.
Did you just think of that?
What is that though? Why have I done that?
Kidding, it's shit.
So, but no, I think we need to introduce. Can't just be like, hello.
You've not watched Joe Rogan before?
Well, he introduces the guest.
No, he doesn't.
Does he not?
No, it's just conversation. So you just have to start off with a conversation.
What? So we're not going to say.
So basically, what I'm saying is that the podcast has already started. So let's talk about something.
Yes,
Every time we do a podcast, you do the same thing.
I don't know.
When are we starting?
No, there should be a big red button somewhere.
Something that says live.
Yeah.
But if you do,
Off you go.
if you do want to just introduce yourself,
Okay.
you do.
Yeah, well, I'm Prue Ockenden, and I am the principal and financial planner at Ockenden Financial Planning. Really creative name. It took me months to come up with that.
And how long? So I'm going to guess. So 18 months, 2 years.
And so that's how long my brand has kind of been running, about a year. But I've been in financial services for like 20 years. Started off in retail banking. Enjoyed it a bit, sort of.
Is that like?
I learned a lot. I worked for a bank, Britannia Building Society, Co-op Bank. Went to London, worked all over London. It was really hard work, but I learned a lot. Met loads of people.
What, doing like the retail style stuff, or did you?
I was a bank manager, so managing people, but dealing with loads of customers all through the banking crisis. When we had targets, but weren't really allowed to have targets, so it was a lot of work.
Target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then came running back from London back to Salisbury. Could not wait to get back, to be honest. I am definitely a country girl. I can't remember. But I went back to one-to-one advising in about 2019.
Gross.
And I did a lot of mortgages and protection, that sort of work. And then gradually moved more and more into the wealth space. And that's where I kind of firmly am now. Still do lots of mortgages and protection, and I've got a team that helps me with that. But the wealth space is where I add loads of value, because I can make people loads of money.
Was that always the plan when you started in the retail side of things? Because I guess it's, like you start here and you work up. Was that always the plan, or do we kind of a bit like this?
Not really. I left school. I was always a really hard worker, but I got distracted by work. I used to go and earn money.
Yeah.
And I really loved going and earning money. And I've worked in
our own money.
I went and I think I worked in every restaurant and bar in Salisbury, and I loved it. I loved meeting people. And I kind of did that probably too much through my A-levels and at university. And so I left, I came back, I went into sort of full-time work thinking, well, I'm never really going to achieve anything. Mm-hmm. And I remember being, maybe 19, 20, thinking I'm never going to achieve anything. I'm never really going to have a career because I haven't got that first degree from a great university. Mm-hmm. And so then I went into retail banking and thought, I'm just going to work hard. I'm going to do a day job. I'm not going to work, in the Chapel nightclub anymore, because it's not real life and it's pretty exhausting.
Nothing against the Chapel, right?
Yeah. No.
We've all been there.
But I needed something 9 to 5. Went to work for a bank, and Emma Rose, who some of you may know, she trained me up and just kind of really got my teeth into finance. And so it just snowballed. 1 minute you're sort of working as a cashier, and then if you just keep turning up, working really hard, and I think if you just do the right thing, then people promote you because you're good at what you do. You work hard and you always do the right thing. And clients now, because I still work in that way, clients want to work with me because I work really hard. I turn up all the time, and I always do the right thing.
What's that saying? Is it talent beats effort if No, what's that? There's a saying, isn't there? There's like,
There is, but I don't know what that is.
effort beats talent if talent doesn't work hard, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
if you could have one or the other, you'd have the work ethic
Yeah.
and the talent.
Yeah.
If somebody talented works hard, then great.
I've got to say, in my industry, you need both. I have to do exams all the time, and technically, I need to know an awful lot of stuff. However, we've got specialist teams that help me because actually, any financial planner that tells you they know absolutely everything about every single thing, it's rubbish.
So you still have to do exams now?
Yeah, all the time.
Or yearly, or just like every time like new.
So
Products come out. Or something.
Yeah.
Is there like anytime there's a new regulation?
Yeah, so no, I have to keep up my competence every year. So as an absolute minimum, I'm doing exams in kind of all areas of financial planning, but, all the legislation, law stuff, there's loads.
Is it big changes or is it like little tweaks that you just got to be really careful of every year?
The budget prompted a lot of changes because one of the things they did with that was decide that pensions were going to be IHTable. So people before the budget didn't have to pay their 40% inheritance tax on their pension. And it was a great piece of planning for people that died and left a sizable estate to their kids or, spouse or whatever. And now people might be paying 40% on their pensions. Wow. So that, people have been planning that for years and almost generations. And that's kind of been blown up. So that caused a lot of problems.
Okay.
And tax allowances, they change all the time. So, that just prompts
I guess
learning.
Busy month for you as well because end of year.
Yeah, tax year end. Yeah. So I work with a lot of company directors and a lot of the work I do with them is how do I pay myself without paying it all to the tax man? And a lot of that...
We're going to be talking after this.
Yeah. I need your help.
No, and a lot of that is... company directors they're so focused on their day job and what they're doing and that's what they're good at, and mostly they are really time poor. And then it gets to their company year end their company year end, which doesn't always time the tax year end, and they are they've paid themselves too much or not enough, and they need they've got all this money left in their company and they need to get it out. And
Probably first world problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damn it, I paid myself too much.
Yeah, but then you don't.
And then there's tax bill.
You don't want to pay tax when you actually don't need to. So getting financial advice early on, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges. People don't think they're wealthy enough to have financial advice or financial planning, and anyone that's got any sort of income, and certainly company directors, they should be getting financial planning from early on because then you know what not to do. It's not even. I have like calls with people all the time where it's like, I just tell them, give them some information, look, this is what you need to be thinking about right now. There's no work for me to do yet, but come back to me when X, Y, and Z happens or whatever.
Do you work quite closely with accountants then? So obviously, I know I speak to my accountant and he's like, this is what you need to do. And this is, but again, thinking about it, it's more functional, isn't it? It's like,
it's numbers.
Yeah.
Accountants do an amazing job. And I've had to do so many tax exams and they're really hard to pass. And how accountants keep up with all the changes, I don't know. Yeah. They're great at what they do. And we've got loads of really good ones in Salisbury. We do completely different jobs, but pretty different jobs. And people cross us over quite a lot. Your accountant will help you structure the shareholding of your company, obviously paying yourself, managing payroll for you, tax efficiency. They will certainly help with that sort of stuff. They might say things to you like, oh, maybe you should do some sort of pension contribution. And you go, okay, maybe I should do a pension contribution. And then maybe you go online and you just sort of pay something into a pension. But
Aviva. Anyone else?
So when clients call me and say, this is, my accountant's told me to pay a pension contribution and this is what I've done, I then sort of say, well, what are you invested in? And I'd say almost 10 times out of 10, people say, I don't really know. Well, what assets are you invested in? What's your plan? Is anyone doing the trust work around that pension? All this sort of stuff. Exactly, yeah. And so that's where I come in to kind of look at people's attitude to risk and see, and just kind of make them money. But
do you see a lot of common mistakes? Is it does it go from lack of planning, like almost, hey, where have you been? Just come and get some advice, or is it like you see people come in and they all want to go in the same direction, and you're like, no, hey, stop.
I mean, pretty much every time I look at someone's pension, I I think I can do better, but I do do better.
Yeah.
And it's not even just down to what you're invested in. It's, the trust work that can sit around a pension, the changing of, you get a sort of asset drift. So you might be invested in, let's say 50% in equities and in UK equities, and UK equities do really well. And then you might be overexposed. And clients don't really know what exposure they've got.
Yes.
So, if you've watched the news in the last 24 hours, you'll see there's been some massive movements in the market because of
Trump's tariffs.
Yeah. So
Don't worry, I'll talk to you later.
I'd say one of the biggest things I see, so company directors are so time poor. They just think, get something into a pension because it will help me get money out of my company without paying corporation tax, because you can pay yourself from your limited company. And so then they don't really know what they're invested in because they are really focused on their business. And so they need someone to say, here's the pension money, make it grow and look after it. So that's kind of what company
I
directors.
feel seen because this is literally me. Rob's like, set up a pension. Okay, how much? Well, I don't know. What do you think? There's just no. It's fascinating.
There's no structure. Yeah. So then it's, what are you invested in, and is it growing? And actually, what's the point in it? So then I do a lot of cash flow planning. So I'd say, Adam, if you contribute X amount per month or per year, and this is what I think it's going to grow. Let's chuck in some market crashes. This is what it could look like at retirement. And then you say to me, okay, well, I want to retire though when I'm 50, 55. And I go, okay, well, this is what we've got to do.
Yeah.
So now I'll work backwards.
Nice.
So that's company of directors. But then
I want to retire at 40. Work
hard.
High risk.
I'm hoping that I'm not alone, but I don't even know where my pension is or what it is. So I've got because I've always been in full-time employment until recently, I literally had no clue.
No.
You've probably got 5 different.
I did, because I get letters from loads of different pension companies.
Consolidate your pensions. It's fine. They'll be out there somewhere.
I don't know what
I just work forever.
Yeah.
You don't want to work forever, right? So get on top of your pensions. But I love meeting people like you as well. So people that were employees or are employees. So their pensions are always pretty interesting, because now, if you employ people, and you guys may know this, you have to auto-enroll your staff. It's a bit of a headache for the company owner. But as a staff member, it does mean that people are actually contributing to their pensions. Great. They contribute a bit. Their employers will often contribute a bit. Brilliant. Free money. And that goes into a nice little pension pot. And you'd think, again, people think, done, tick. Well, it's not really, because, again, what's that invested in? And actually, almost every time I look at an employer's scheme, it doesn't suit the person that's actually investing. And it is your money. People think it's not really their money. It's your money. It's your key to not working forever.
But I think it's so funny, isn't it, how people, and again, I see this with houses, but people worry so much about not spending £6 on an ice cream that because it's like, or it's not pay. And then you think, what are we missing?
I know.
What are we missing from, I know I'm guilty of it. Like, you focus on the wrong things.
Yeah.
And actually, in the background, you're missing a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Just not. So that makes complete sense.
Where do you buy an ice cream for £6?
Well, a very good example, I'll be honest. But actually, no, Southbourne Beach. On Sunday.
£6?
Yeah, £6 for it.
That's weird.
2 flakes.
2 flakes.
And it melted within 30 seconds. The worst £6 I've ever spent. But yeah, no, okay, that's interesting. And do you find like, I suppose I already asked the common theme thing. Do you find like people sit, because I guess I could be argued, like I'm sitting going, money's coming in, I've got a few shares with EXP and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like people come in and within 5 minutes their eyes are completely opened as to what they've been missing?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So for you, it's just like, how do I get more bums on seats?
Yeah,
right? Like,
it is a bit, because it's normally a no-brainer. I mean, it's like saying, well, you could leave your money and it doesn't grow, or you could make it grow. And like I said, I'm really upfront and honest with people, because I just want to do a really good job. So I'm not in this business to try and be some multi-millionaire. I want to be able to sleep at night. I want to just do a really great job for all my clients. And I've always worked that way from, when I very first started as a cashier, just turn up, do your best, do the right thing. And so, if it means having a conversation with a client and saying, there's nothing for me to do for you right now, come back to me another time, then I'll do that, if I need to turn away business, I don't know, I'm trying to think when I would turn away business, but, I think it's in that scenario. If they're not ready, if they're not ready for financial advice yet, people's mortgages, if they're in fixed rates, you're going to tell them to stay where they are. No, don't move it, because rates they are coming down, as you probably know, but they're still higher than what they were.
But I think it builds trust
5 years ago.
when you. I had that today. She said to somebody like, guys, you're not going to get the price you need for your house now.
Yeah.
Let's spend 18 months. Like, I'll talk you through what I think you should do.
Yeah.
And then that's where, and they went, do you know what, you're the only person that said that.
Yeah.
And they were like, and we sort of agreed with you, but they were all coming in, go sell now. And I'm thinking, they knew that was not the correct advice.
Yeah.
And so now, in 18 months, I get that. In 18 months, you get the person who goes, do you know what, thanks for that.
I think so.
It's just authentic, isn't it?
I think that works a lot better, doesn't it?
It's hard sometimes to have those difficult conversations. The retiring early thing is always tricky. Like, I want to retire at X.
Is that the cliche you get a lot?
Yeah.
Prue, I don't want to work till I'm 65.
But the reality is that there's so many of my clients that get to the age, and there was one recently, you send them a card on their 60th birthday, you can retire now. And they don't, because they're so used to being on this hamster wheel, and they've grown this business. And even if they're just, even if they are employed, people by that point, they love their job mostly. I don't see lots of people that are miserable. There are some that actually think, I enjoy my job, but I do want to retire. But lots of people really struggle to retire.
You want a choice to do it, don't you?
That's it.
You want to be able to say
financial freedom.
Yeah.
I feel like you would definitely retire.
Me?
Very soon, yeah.
Mate, I've got a 6-year plan. I'm going to semi-retire at 40 and I'm going to retire at 50. That is what I want to do.
There you go.
Yeah,
I can't imagine ever retiring.
Yeah, but like I think
I love working.
But I think like retiring from like I think we all think we want to sit on a beach 6-7 days a week.
Yeah.
Like I think yes, you said you want to have that freedom to go, do you know what? Like, I remember my dad saying, he was like, the best thing about, because my dad retired just before he was 50.
Yeah.
So, well, kind of from his...
Yeah, that's young.
Yeah, and I'm saying about 49 and a half then, not competitive. But I just feel like it was just that, he always said it's that choice that then he went on to then try a few other things afterwards.
Yeah.
But his main career, so and he always said it was just that ability that I could go away with your mum for 3 months, 4 months, and then I could come back and go, right, what
do I do next?
Yeah. And then he tried a couple of different things, they didn't come off, but ultimately it was...
Yeah, I think my husband wants me to keep working. I think I would drive him insane.
Yeah, I'm retiring. You are not.
Get back to work. Off you go.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think we'd still be doing the podcast at 65.
We can have 3 hosts. Yeah. And this will be like double the size. Yeah. No, I think that's really fascinating. Do you have like a demographic of clients that you work with a lot? Is it?
I'd say that
professionals our age.
Yeah, I mean, loads of professionals your age. I work with, I'd say most of my client bank is Salisbury, Wiltshire, Hampshire. And they are company directors, employees, age-wise. I mean, honestly, it spans from, I've got children. Obviously, I deal with the parents, but really, don't deal with it.
That's really funny bit. You need to pay into a pension, young man. That's so funny.
But yeah, so I, honestly, from really young all the way through, buying people buying their first houses, and then, working, building businesses, and then retiring. And actually, when you come to retire, there's an awful lot of advice, because you need to make sure you don't run out of money, or really try your damnedest not to run out of money. And then later in life, there's a lot of long-term care planning, which can be quite a difficult piece of planning, and it's really specialist. Not many people can do it, but that is part of what we do.
Just like will, right? Not wills. But do you talk about wills, or is that
no? That's a solicitor.
Fine.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So I should know that, shouldn't I?
No, it's right.
But like part of me was thinking, I'd see so many people who don't have the right power of attorney.
I know,
and then it costs them financially.
Yeah,
because
every single client, every single person I speak to, I will ask you, have you got a will in place? Have you got a power of attorney? And people say, I'm a bit young for a power of attorney. No, COVID taught us. You need to have attorneys in place.
It's scary, isn't it?
Do you have a will or a power of attorney?
Nice. You should.
You're not married, are you? No, neither am I, and neither of us have them. So there you go. You've got two. You've got two absolute suckers here.
Well, that, and also I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing when it comes to finances. So.
But none of it, but I mean, I do, but most people don't because we're not taught it at school. And so, I mean, I think that's part of what motivates me and drives me is just educating people. And that's why I'll have calls with people and give them loads of information and say, come back to me when, you don't need my advice yet. This is what you need to know right now. Come back to me when it's necessary, because we were never taught. I mean, I left school. I went to the grammar school in Salisbury, and it was a brilliant school, and I loved it. And I and I thrived there, and I just had the best time. But I did not understand money at all when I left. I went to Debenhams and took a store card because they told me I'd get 10% off, and then I couldn't believe it when they sent me a bill.
Mum, what's going on?
Because I genuinely just did. My parents never taught me anything. Sorry, Mum, but they didn't, and I just didn't understand money. And so I've tried to go into some of the local schools and talk to the sort of 16, 17, 18-year-olds about.
Been PTSD come from that store card experience. I can tell.
Yeah.
It's almost like, right, I was tricked. Yeah. I'm going to.
Talk me about, all the money off I'd get. You didn't say you were going to bill me and add 35% on or whatever.
It triggered one of mine as well because I did the whole Wonga thing. At one point, yeah.
Did you? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right. Long time ago.
Okay. We might have to interview you on that one.
I mean, how many people left school not understanding what APR is, not understanding what equities were, no one knows what a pension is, really. People are in their 30s and 40s and they don't really, and I'm always really careful. I just explain it all because I don't want to teach anyone to suck eggs. I don't want to patronize anyone, but equally I'm pretty aware that we're not taught this stuff in schools. How would you know?
I think you think you're probably, I sit down on people's sofas. I'm like, they must know this. And I can see blank expressions.
People don't. And it's not their fault. And these are really intelligent, bright people, but we're all really busy people and no one's got the time to just research all this stuff and learn it from themselves.
I think it's also quite difficult to then teach your kids constantly about all of this stuff as well. Yeah. Like I've got 3 kids and one of them's 15 and I'm trying to teach them how to sort of manage money in a way. So I did the whole Go Henry app thing. Where you put chores and they earn money from it and stuff. Lasted about a week.
Oh, really?
Got bored.
How do you expect him to manage money if you can't?
I can now.
Really?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I did
a bit of work that he's doing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's quite a lot of pressure on as well to take the load and teach your. My son doesn't have any idea about. If I try and teach him, he's just like, I don't care what you're saying.
I know.
Sweet.
Is there a real? Is there a faster way?
Yeah, Dad, show me TikTok.
I'll make a short out of something you said.
This is this really intelligent lady telling you what to do. Yes, but it's not Call of Duty.
I still want Fortnite skins.
It's quite funny. Because I feel well. This isn't planned, but I definitely. I mean, to be honest, I've messaged you before, haven't I?
Yes, you have.
And like everything, you just said it. You're too busy, and but actually,
no, I didn't say I was too busy.
Sorry, I was too busy. Yeah,
which is going to happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just let me know. Blank. I think we both definitely need to, really, don't we? Because I think, and also, it's almost like if you get good habits in place before you get busy. Yeah. I imagine if someone came to you and...
you're always going to be busy because, if you're in the first 5 years of setting up a company, you're going to be really busy. But actually, that busyness probably isn't going to slow down much.
It's probably easier for you to get someone going when the numbers are smaller and easier to contextualize. Yeah. If someone came to you with, a huge... You're like, whoa, okay, like...
It's more things like... it's just harder to backdate advice. Mm-hmm. So obviously we're coming up to the end of the tax year now. So really, really busy time of year. If people come to me for the first time after the end of the tax year, and you can, speak to a financial advisor at any point in the year. But if you've just missed that cutoff, there's a lot of things we can't backdate. There are some things we can backdate. So you get some allowances that you can carry forward, but there's lots of stuff you can't backdate.
When's the cutoff?
5th of April, which is a Saturday.
Right, okay. Noted.
So, yeah. That's like my accounts. I don't know what they are. Yeah, it's just where my money goes. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, obviously we've got the stamp duty deadline at the moment, so I imagine we've got clients selling properties and and things like that. So it's definitely a hectic period. But yeah, interestingly, because my annual year is at the end of July.
Is it?
So I think my company was incorporated end of July. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm the same as you. Like sometimes I get a little bit confused with.
Yeah.
So not same as you.
It's all.
You're absolutely not getting confused.
No, it's kind of trying to separate. The business is separate to you as Adam Budd. So the business, which is separate, can pay you, let's say, a pension contribution, but you receive that as Adam Budd, personal person. So, but it's an employer's contribution to you.
Yeah.
We're probably getting more complicated than we need to get, but it's kind of separating those two things. There's a few deadlines that you need to think about because your company year end doesn't line up. Not that it doesn't matter. But
so if anyone's going to set up a company, do it in April, if you can.
Ask an accountant.
Oh yeah, of course. They say yeah.
From my point of view, I don't particularly see it. Does
just to like
greatly matter. It's I need to know, but your accountant is the best person to advise you on that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why they have to make it so complicated. Why can't the end of year just be like Christmas?
31st of January.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's the end of the year, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Is there any I guess big mistakes you see people make again aside from not planning? Do you get people ignoring advice and then and just going you're like I told you so?
I don't say I told you so because that probably wouldn't go down too well. Yeah. I think where people go wrong, and actually I do see this a lot of the time, they really underestimate how much they spend. Okay. So people will say. So people know what their bills are. They know what their mortgage is. That's pretty easy. There's normally like a joint account. This is how much I put into the bills account. Easy. And then we say, well, how much do you spend on going out, holidays, Oh, maybe I don't really go out that much. Maybe £250 a month. What, for all your meals out, all your clothes?
Takeaways.
What have you spent on Amazon in the last month? And that becomes a problem when I'm doing that cash flow planning. So when I'm trying to build something and someone says to me, I need to create an income when I'm 60 of £3,000 a month, whatever, if they are not able to save enough, it's kind of that over promising, under delivering problem. So that happens an awful lot. Okay. I think.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We spend more than we think we do. Yeah. We really do. Things are really expensive.
It's just so true.
Your ice cream, you spend £6
yeah, exactly.
on ice cream.
What a rip-off.
I was waiting to bring that up again.
Amazon is a killer. And anyone that follows me on Instagram will have seen that I put myself on a spending ban.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
a span.
Span. Hashtag span.
Prue span advice.
And honestly, I mean, it was slightly dull content, so I didn't really share too much about it. But for me, it was great. But I do really like this type of money thing and making money and saving money. I saved so much money by logging out of Amazon. There was so much rubbish that I would have bought that I really didn't need to buy. I mean,
a meat carver or all.
Yeah, more like, those dishes for meal prep, which I'm never going to meal prep.
Go to pound that.
I've got 2 kids, a dog. I am not meal prepping. I'm eating whatever is like there, I don't need some glass containers anyway. And I remember putting them in my Amazon basket, and they were like 35 quid, and then another 5 quid for delivery or something. And I was like, no,
what am I doing?
Stop buying rubbish you don't need.
Yes, because it's so easy now, and you're just on your phone all the time, and then you're scrolling through, and now Amazon's like a feed, isn't it? Yeah,
you can buy
scroll
anything.
Through. Yeah.
And then Instagram, there was a lot of jumpers I didn't buy, thank God. Because I have nowhere to put them. I have so many clothes. I can't store anymore.
Algorithm advertising is to do with the death of society.
It is very good, yeah.
It's like Instagram, you've got a nice story, well done, nice business update, and then it's like golf jumper. No, we've got 17 of those. Yeah.
But actually,
that nice blue will fit now. Yeah. No, that's so true. And I think that's probably a habit with businesses and with personal people, like with personal people, with because I know that sometimes for the business, I turn around and go, oh, that's cool because I can deduct that off my tax contribution. And then you sit there and you go, what have I just spent that on?
Yeah.
Same thing personally, as I said, £6 ice creams aside, you forget what you spend in Tesco. Yeah. And I actually think it must be a psychological thing where you remember the things that cost you 250 quid because they were 2 purchases I don't know, 100 and 200.
Yeah.
But you forget the things that are 5.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to stop, is all this like rubbish that I was buying week after week after week that I didn't really need. And if I just waited a couple of days, I'd decide I didn't really need it because I was just being influenced. And it was that. I mean, I should have worked out how much I saved, but it was definitely hundreds, which, you know, I've never chucked a few £100 in the bin.
Yeah. Just because. Just spark up 300 quid. And just, I know. But you mentioned something that I find absolutely fascinating. I've said for so long. Finance in school, health in school, and politics. Yeah, like those are the three things that make the world go round, right? Yeah. And you don't learn any of them.
None of it.
I know some places do politics.
Yeah, they are
AS
now.
level and A level.
A level now. I think there's a few of our local schools here that are now doing politics.
Yeah,
you know,
it's hard. I didn't do it, but I do know people. I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and they studied A-level politics, and I think it is hard. But at least it's not the American. You know, the American politics is really hard.
Yeah.
But UK politics.
I just find it. There's a cynic in me goes, why? Like, it's so logical that your health to stay alive, your finance to pay your bills and keep your roof over your head, and and what's the other thing? Health, finance, politics. Yeah, fine. And then politics, because you can affect the society.
Yeah.
Right.
And just things like, just useful things like how to run a business. Because I think we, in the UK, we would have many more business owners. I meet so many people that are employed and they are amazing at what they do. And they say, I'd really like to start, I'd either like to be a contractor or start my own company one day. I'm not quite sure. I don't, it is having that sort of close your eyes and jump. You've got to have the ability to do that, don't you? And as business owners, we've all had to take that leap at some point. And some people can do it and some people can't. But there are lots of people that could, but don't, because they don't really understand how to run a business.
I think if it was taught as well towards the end of school, it would give them a bit of a drive as well to be like, actually, I really want to do that. Yeah. Or that thing I really love. Yeah. I've seen somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and do it as well.
But it's what you said, though, isn't it? Or was it what I might have said earlier about how, schools are almost indoctrinating the education system rather than actually, I look at some of the people I know better. I mean, some people we'll probably have on here. They're people earning, a fortune from being handy. Like electricians. Yeah. And you think to yourself, well, why at school do you not get shown that it's not just Pythagoras and pi that works? No. It's actually there is this whole world out.
Property developers are a great example. They start as often carpenters or builders, and people could easily write them off as a tradie or someone that's going to earn X amount of money. And then they have this spark and this ability to actually create a business and run it. And then they start really property developing, and they can make an awful lot of money doing it.
And they even say it to me when I see them. They're like, just kind of, I came out of school and didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I think it's because you're pushed in this direction of academia, and there is, I reckon there's, if we could somehow diversify through politics, health, finance, through trades, through,
even in lower school, when I've been into schools, children don't, or young people don't understand the circle of money. So they don't understand the fact that the Bank of England and banks are all linked. What we save, we're paid an interest, and what we borrow, we're charged. And there is this circle. It is all linked.
My brain's just catching up with that.
You see that? I need a flip chart or something.
Dan's going to pause that bit. You're going to play it in slow motion.
Say that again.
There are sort of basic things that we should all understand, and that circle of money is one of them. Tax efficiency is another, which I've spoken about. And then asset classes. People don't understand how to use asset classes. So we have inflation, which most people understand. Inflation is the rate at which things are going up in price. So then what are the other asset classes? Well, cash. Okay, well, what do I need in cash? Well, what you need in cash is money that you are going to you might need in an emergency. Keep a good amount in cash. If anything happens, you need to be able to get your hands on some money. So then what else?
Under the bed.
Is it like
not very good advice?
No, cash accounts, a bank account, a savings account, basically. That's what kind of cash is. And you'll get an interest rate and it will kind of be okay, but it'll trundle along below around inflation. It's not going to make you wealthy. unlikely to anyway. And then you've got the other asset classes, property that Adam understands really well. You can invest directly in property or...
Don't expose me.
I'm not going to quickly go away. There's a thing or two about property. And people invest in lots of different ways in property. You can invest in a property fund, or you can actually invest in property and commercial property, all that sort of thing. You've got bonds, which is another one, which people don't really talk about quite so much. But what people are interested in is equities, just another word for stocks and shares. And it is probably the most volatile asset class.
Is that one of the most common investments as well? Would you is that not? Because a
lot of people keep all their money in cash in bank accounts and they say, well, I'm earning 3%.
Because the government are evil.
I'm earning 3%. I'm like, well, so it's losing value every year, probably, because once you've paid tax on that, and it is individual for every single person, because it really depends on, what they're earning, what the goals are for that money. But if that money if you've got no goal for that money, it's not tax efficient, and it's probably not growing over time.
Yeah.
Equities, or the stock market in various forms, is much more volatile. So Trump today, I don't follow the stock market every minute of the day because it is pointless. But, from what I've read so far, it's collapsed a lot. The stock market, not collapsed, but everything's dropped. Feels painful. But within a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it'll be back to where it was. Those short-term volatilities, don't worry about it.
I have, so every time I complete on a house, I get stocks and shit. I get a certain amount of shares at a discount price from EXP.
Okay.
Obviously floated in the US, and at the moment I think it's the lowest it's been for a while.
Yeah.
So again, my mindset is just at some point it's got to go up. I'm buying at a slightly cheaper price. I mean, obviously I'm absolutely no expert on this at all, but I feel as though in some sense it's quite predictable.
Yeah.
It's like obviously if you're going for like the Bitcoins and all that kind of stuff, like clearly I've met people over the last 3 years that have lost biblical amounts of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But I do think if you speak to somebody who knows what they're doing, you see the trends, you see the, and I know you're not allowed to kind of share too much, but you see the trends and you see kind of, house prices, sometimes they go up, drop, but then, and it's
the trend is upwards, and over time, investing in equities outperforms the other asset classes significantly because it's doing something different to the other asset classes. And, when you look at it over a really long amount of time, the line goes really far up, and you see things like, and people say, well, what's that drop? And I'll say, well, that was COVID. That was when the whole world shut down. And over a sort of 15, 20-year period, it just looks like a little blip. And the line goes up, it drops for COVID, and then it follows on again. So
don't panic.
And that's why you need a good financial advisor in your corner, because people that aren't getting proper advice year after year after year panic and sell low, which is kind of a term, and they don't invest in the right way. So investing for decades, not days. It doesn't always have to be a decade, but that's quite a nice little trigger line. It's a good way to remember it. You shouldn't be investing for a year.
Decades, not days.
Yeah.
Sounds like a tattoo.
Yeah. I have got that tattooed on my arm, actually.
My final pierce through Decades, not days. I like that.
Yeah. So, you've got to think medium to long term when you're investing, because you don't know what Trump's going to do.
You shared something mental earlier, and I'm going to find it.
I feel like I'm learning so much.
That's kind of
even just from this podcast.
That's kind of the idea of why we're doing.
It's great. Just get everybody's ideas. Free advice.
So I don't know if you can see this, but Ockenden _financial _planning. Obviously, we're going to share all of the accounts, aren't we? But this blew my mind. So you shared something that said in the UK, £100 in 1954 would now cost £3,000. So nearly a 3,000% increase.
Yeah.
But wages over the same period have only increased by 44%. So 2,850% less than what the inflation's got to.
I know.
So it's not you, it's inflation.
Yeah, inflation is really...
That's crazy.
Inflation can be really painful on people's savings and investments. And, I bore people, but that's why you have to have... That's why I will talk to pretty much anyone that wants to speak to me, because if I can just say, well, just keep thinking about it early, not yet, maybe, or maybe next year, but the sooner you kind of consider your wealth, the quicker you can become wealthy, because inflation is against you year after year.
Yeah.
Was it?
That's on the other arm.
Yeah. What was it? If you say that again?
Decades, not dates.
Yeah. What was the other one?
I can't remember. I'll look at my tattoo later.
Yeah. Play that back because that was elite. I really enjoyed that. No, I just find like the perspective of something like that is insane.
Yeah.
Like it just, to me, that absolutely blows my mind.
But imagine if that was your life savings, if there was that sort of impact on your savings, those sort of percentages in a negative value, that's what you're fighting against. And that's why you need to get all the tax back you can, use all the tax allowances you can, and then get your money into a place where it's going to grow over time.
Do you find people are like overly conservative with their money because... And I to my
not when they understand it. Okay. No, I think when people really understand the risk to their wealth, and I really make sure people aren't over invested. Mm-hmm. So you'll always hear me talk about emergency funds, making sure there's cash in a savings account.
Rainy day fund.
Yeah, no, emergency. Sorry. Sorry.
Is that a different one?
Yeah. Things like securing your home, making sure you've got a home to live in. Can you afford your mortgage? You've got to be able to afford these things. Having protection if something really horrendous happens. People start falling asleep when I talk about life insurances, income protection, but it's really important. And these aren't really big, expensive. People pay more for their TV subscriptions than protecting their own lives or their own income. As long as you've got all these foundation things in place, then people start to understand, well, actually, all this money is just losing value. Let's make it grow.
Yeah, I reckon I pay about £150 a month for my TV subscription.
Do you?
Like Sky.
Oh, yeah, Sky.
Now TV. DAZN is a sneaky one, isn't it?
Yeah.
£25 a month.
Yeah.
And
but what happens if you're in a car accident on the way back from this podcast?
No income protection.
And you're in hospital for a year.
Yeah, but you can watch the football. On your way.
I can watch this back. Yeah.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah. No, that's quite fascinating. I feel like people are so conservative. Again, probably relating this slightly to my job as much as anything else, but I just feel like people are so conservative with their decisions. Like it's this idea that, I'm not going to, especially like sometimes people offering on houses, it's almost like they've got advice from someone like you and gone, right, offer so low that it couldn't possibly be a bad investment. Do you know what I mean?
It's like a deep-rooted thing with buying and selling houses, though, isn't it? I hear people all the time say, I looked around this house, I pretended like I hated it.
And what do you do? And now I hate you because you didn't tell me you liked it,
The estate agent thinks that you hate it. It's ridiculous. It doesn't really work that way, this sort of mind games. It's just.
I have to work with you for 3 months, and if I don't like you, then
just be upfront and honest about it. I think people when they're buying houses, pretend like they hate it, and then offer something really, really low, because then they're going to get loads of money off. But it's worth what it's worth. The value is the value, mostly.
To me, it just stems from this overprotectiveness of like, we couldn't possibly pay what he's asking because what if that's too much?
Yeah.
It's like this
it's the hanger, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. Well. But why?
I think that's when people don't really understand what they're getting for their money. And, if they were buying a property, let's say, for a short-term investment, if we call it an investment, then the price matters quite a lot. With the home that I live in now, using myself as an example, I'm never moving again. Sorry, you're not going to get any business from me.
She says that. I guarantee.
I know. I know. I'll be one of those people. But at this point in time, it's a long-term purchase, so we probably overpaid slightly for that house, but it was perfect for us. And over the long term, I know that we'll make our money back on it. So.
So in principle, and I think that's if everybody thought like that about their money, I think my job would be easier because some people do. They come in and they go, look, do you know what? I'm a half glass full kind of person.
Yeah.
But I just feel like financial investments, financial purchases.
Yeah.
And again, I understand you don't want to make mistakes, but how many people do you think miss opportunities because they're too worried about making a mistake?
I honestly believe that anyone that's not taking financial advice is probably missing opportunities.
Crazy. Yeah.
And so most of the time that I meet a new client, I say, look, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you some of my initial thoughts. This is what I think. But the most important thing is that you find a financial advisor or a financial planner that you get on with and that you trust. Because 9 times out of 10, it needs to be a really long relationship. So you've got to be able to be really upfront with that person. And I've got to be upfront with the client as well. So you've got to have that really good open relationship. And I can honestly say that every one of my clients I get on with really well. Most of them are Salisbury based. I've got a great group of clients in London as well, but most are sort of Salisbury, Wiltshire, all around the south of England, and I get on with them.
Is the perception of your industry similar to mine? Like it was full of stuffy,
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm saying something I shouldn't here, but like people of a certain age who, of a certain demographic, where like you couldn't meet a financial advisor that had some slightly more progressive views on things.
Well, there aren't any female financial advisors. I think there are slightly more now, but whenever I go to any event with financial planners, I am just like,
what do you think?
I'm just surrounded by men.
Yeah.
I am just surrounded by men.
Why is that?
Not that I mind, and I've always got on with men really well. I don't know. I don't know if it's women not being interested in it, or if they look at it and think it is really male dominated. So I guess that's quite threatening. I'm not threatening in a horrible way. I just mean, you think, oh, I'm not really part of that gang.
And would you say historically, this is probably a guess, I haven't looked this up, but I guess is there historically been more male business owners than female? And so but now female business owners want to work with a female financial advisor.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Because there's a bit more.
Because I think people, I'm not saying that this isn't to take away from men. So I don't want it to come across like that. But I think I don't want to, that's not what I mean. But I think that there is added trust in women. I think people,
I would agree with that.
When I meet men, I'd say most of my client bank is probably men still. I don't know, maybe 50-50. I should look at that, shouldn't I? That'd be an interesting kind of analysis, wouldn't it? But I think, men and women do trust women. And I don't know why. I don't know if we're, statistically actually more trustworthy, but,
I'll say so. Yeah. I deal with, if I've got a husband and wife selling houses.
Yeah.
This is what I find interesting, because 90% of the person that reaches out to me that deals with most of the offers and it's misses.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and so I find it interesting, and again, I just wonder whether it
doesn't always happen. Actually, when they're talking about financial planning, actually, the men do get more involved, but it really varies. I meet some really interesting people. Yeah, it's the best bit about my job. Really. Meeting so many different people, and there are some people that you would meet that would think that they have no wealth at all, and they've got, pots of it.
I love those Instagram reels where it's like the guy walks into the showroom in his trackies and
refuse to sell the car,
all the skits, and they're like, no, you're not test driving the car, and he comes back the next day and someone else, and he gets his 200 grand sale or whatever, and the guy's going, what, and I'm thinking, I know that.
What a loser filming that, though.
Right.
You must feel a bit like, I didn't think that, but no, I think there's a lot. The world's full of preconceptions, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, unfortunately.
You have actually started something with women in business.
Yeah, ladies in business, Salisbury.
Ladies in business.
Yeah, so about just over a year ago now, there was a female networking group in Salisbury which sadly closed down, and I went to a few networking groups, and I am a really controlling person, and I
want to set the agenda.
I thought, I want to set the agenda, and I want to talk at it, so I'm just going to start one myself. And actually, I did it. I've set it up with a lady called Beth and Creasy, who's a family solicitor, and it's been so popular. We've got I think when I last looked, we now have 140 local women, professionals and business owners that want to come along.
140?
And they are all...
How many on a weekly, monthly basis?
So we tend to cap the numbers at about 40, and we have a sort of core group that have been coming pretty much from the start. We run it out of Hickson, which is one, really good restaurant, great cocktails, great food, but they put on a really good breakfast for us. Yeah. We have a guest speaker, which is often somebody from the networking group or someone from outside the group. But we just kind of thought it might be like a group of 5 or 10 women. And I don't know why we decided women. We were obviously both female, and it just kind of seemed like, apparently, it just kind of seemed like an obvious kind of, thing to do, I think. I can't, there's so many people just emailing us all the time saying, please, can I join? Please, can I join?
So you've got like a queue of people waiting.
Yeah. We've got a list. Yeah, I think it's about 140 women. They're all local. No. then it becomes a business. Then I've got 2 businesses.
Then you've got to financially plan for it.
Well, the other business. Yeah. You do have to pay, but that's to cover, they pay Hickson directly.
Okay.
For like an entry, basically.
Okay. And is that it like, I assume you're passing business between lots of independent?
I mean, it's really relaxed. So that's what we wanted to create, was something a little bit different. So it's, loads of coffee, chat. There is no pressure for anyone to, there's no sort of asking for favors, which a lot of networking groups do, and that works really well. But we just wanted to create something that was really fun, really relaxing, and brought in people that would like to network but felt really nervous about it. And that's who Still the Room really are, these women that thought, I've always wanted to network, but it just feels too stressful. And I can't refer people to an accountant because I'm a graphic designer, things like that. But there's loads of really successful women, professionals, business owners. Come along.
I've been to a couple. Obviously, not the women in business one.
No, sorry.
I meant it. Yeah, don't worry.
We'll start our own. Don't worry.
Yeah. Men in business.
I feel like that wouldn't go down as well.
Not quite the same ring to it.
That would flop hard, wouldn't it? I've been to a couple, and I think like they're good, but it feels like there's a lack of energy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it feels as though it's just how people kind of stand there with their little teapot and they finished it like 15 minutes ago.
I know.
It's almost like,
well, I don't want to brag, but this one is like, it is like, I don't want to hate using the word vibe, but it really does. It does explain it. It is really like, it's just really fun. And everyone's like, there's a business purpose to it. Everyone does say what they do and, what their company is. And people are naturally giving business to each other because you just get on really well and have a laugh and, 100%. And
like we like each other. I think I said in the one we did before, it's trust now, isn't it? People refer to trust. They refer because there's this kind of like, I spoke to Prue, I spoke to Beth, and I spoke to Amy. Like, there's this feeling of like, I trust her. Yeah. And I think as humans, the beauty of the human nature is that you have automatic trust, I think. Yeah. Obviously, there's clearly some examples that wouldn't be the case, but I think like naturally you trust somebody, especially in a business setting, until they screw you over. Yeah. And so if you all start kind of like you're meeting and you're chatting and you're finding out more about each other personally and professionally, you just think, why would I go anywhere?
It just sort of happens. And that's what's changing in Salisbury. I think there was a period of time when some of those big companies, like James Hay shut a lot of offices, of Friends Provident, that's where everyone worked in Salisbury. That was, what everyone did. They all shut them all and kind of everyone seemed to leave Salisbury. And then we were saying before, we started recording, a lot of us went to London, hated it because really we're country kids at heart, came running back.
Wiltshire bumpkins.
You can get out of Salisbury for a little bit, but, the calling is strong. But there is a lot of businesses just growing and thriving in Salisbury now. And this, we knew about each other before we, I feel like I know you, but I don't. Because we're Salisbury businesses.
Yeah, I know.
So you support each other, even if you haven't even met each other, because you know what each other are going through and you know what's great about Salisbury and what's difficult about Salisbury. And I think that there is a real buzz about the city at the moment of, maybe like, is it our cohort growing things?
Well, it's one of the reasons why we talked about doing this, isn't it? Because we just thought like there's so many people refer to each other, so many people are happy to shout, we've seen people starting businesses. Now, probably you're right, there's more people that could do stuff. There's still, I think it's this idea that, there's, Adam's doing this and Prue's doing this and Dan's, there's still so much space.
Yeah, there is.
Like, if you don't see anybody, if you see a couple of people in your space doing stuff, like that, go and do it still.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I think it's great. You've got to have competition. 100%. It keeps that fire going, and and we need the city to thrive because otherwise we're not going to have any clients, and we're not going to have any great places to go or shop.
I think it's definitely thriving in a way of businesses. So there's loads of businesses, but I think I can't remember if we mentioned on the last one, but it's more the consumers. So it's changing the mind of consumers to shop local rather than go to the sort of big guns that are around.
Do you see that? We feel like if we tell your story and we tell, other stories of people who are like, then you go, oh yeah, well, I didn't realize I could go and speak to Prue. I thought I had to go to, James Hay or whatever it might be. I think exposure is so key now because these companies will be pumping lots of money into it. They're like, again, if
we've got to compete, we've got to show up, we've got to be there. Yeah. Well, that's why I set up this Instagram account, and I have gained so many clients from that Instagram account, which I nearly didn't do. I mean, it's not the best. I mean, some of my content is pretty poor because I am a financial planner.
To make it seem interesting, isn't it?
And also I am not creative at all. That's why my company name is Ockenden Financial Planning, because I thought of loads of different names. They were all ridiculous. They sounded like medications or like a holiday destination. You know, I'm honestly.
What was something? What were they?
I can't. It's too embarrassing. I'm getting red just thinking about it.
Prue's people.
That's not bad.
I know. I'm pretty
Prue Planning.
It's like the jingle you did.
The jingle was great. Have you got one yet?
No, that was.
I think we're just going to keep
That is it. Okay, good. Okay.
He said to me afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, we're going to need a jingle." He was like, "Oh, that thing you do at the end," and then he put it, and he was like, "Oh my god, that's really good." And I was like, "Oh, I just freestyled."
Yeah, people seem to like it.
But no, it's like I think exposure is such a huge thing, and I think also I found it. You know, you probably get the same. Like, oh, I sold with Adam, so I've given you details to my sister.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the moment that the moment that I actually come and sit down with you and start, I'm then going to be like, when anybody asks me, I'm going to be like, well, go and speak to Prue.
Yeah.
Because
that recommendation thing, that is the key to our success as local business owners, I think, is our clients referring and recommending us, and us referring and recommending each other. Because, well, in my industry, I can go and buy leads, by clients almost. I've never gone down that route. I don't want to go down that route.
Feels like low value, hard working.
I want to, like I said, every client I work with, I get on with really well, really like working with them. And that's what I want to continue to create is a practice full of people that, they're on a journey with me and, and I know what their goal is and I'm going to help them get there. And so to kind of deviate from that doesn't feel right. But then you do need that recommendation and referral. But then if you have a business that is reliant on that, you're going to be doing a really good job, aren't you?
I just think, again, I think the strength in the marketing that you do is in the stuff that, like, you just speak down about like SEO, Google stuff. Like, I'm sat here going, oh my god, like I could probably be getting some extra 3 or 4 leads a month. Well,
at least you can film yourself. He sent me messages saying, we never see your face apart from like these, the professional
I'm not allowed.
Photos. I can film myself, but honestly, the idea of doing it, I tried once, I had to delete it. I couldn't even leave it on my phone. It just made me cringe. No. So I've really jumped in with 2 feet doing a podcast. Three cameras.
It's the same for pretty much everybody.
Is it?
Yeah, they all say the same. They all feel the same way when they turn the camera on. Yeah. I feel the same way. So I'm a marketing person and I have got tons of footage on my phone that I would not show anyone because it's me messing up on the camera and trying to, and I'm not that kind of person who sort of, shouts about myself or anything like that. So I also find it tricky, but a tip is to hold your phone. So don't look at yourself when you're doing it. So hold the camera this way, just press record, face it the other way. Because when you're looking at your own face, one, you keep looking at your mouth. That's quite a key thing. So you should just never look at yourself when you're trying to film yourself.
Okay. That's a good tip.
Lots of.
Well, maybe I'm going to do something. I don't know.
Okay, it's much more effective.
Like 3 years time.
No. This we'll confirm when this will be released, but we need. Prue's going to commit to doing a video of putting it on social media.
Yes, there we go.
By what's the date? So what we today?
Before tax year end.
Okay, yeah, fine.
If I can escape from my computer between now and tax year end.
By the end of next week, you have to post a video on your.
End of next week.
And we'll get him to edit it and go. She didn't record the video.
Well, hopefully, here's the video.
Here's the video. Yeah.
Okay, go on.
It's like a snowball effect as well. Like I like same thing. I didn't film a video for ages, and then about 4 months in. It's my first.
Well, now we can't get away from your videos.
I know,
Your face is just
all over the city.
Do you know what? Though? Your thing about this, a lot of agents who don't use photographers and they do a lot of stuff themselves, they put their phones on tripods on the driveway and stand in front of the house and do exactly what you said. Just record it, because obviously looking at that is far more, as you said, far less intimidating. And
and then staring at yourself, I just stare at myself and then laugh at myself and then just carry on doing what I was doing.
And doing that again.
Yeah,
I do because I find it. When Ellie's doing the property videos with me, she's obviously stood there recording it.
Yeah,
and she'll laugh, and so it makes me laugh. Or she'll be like, why are you saying that? And I'm
you're like, because I think it's really cool.
Yeah. And I actually think sometimes it's if you just focus on purely like freestyling it, and I think when people come to do this, it's you probably felt at the start, you were like, oh God, this is unique.
Yeah.
And then after half an hour.
Well, like I just said, I'm a really controlling person. I mean, I set up my own networking group because I didn't want other people to run it, so, you guys are in control and you were asking me the questions, but I was pretty certain that I would just be able to
No,
well, I was pretty certain I could just.
I do want to ask though, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you while you've been working in your financial planning world? Like, if you got any, like I've slipped downstairs,
Yes, I can tell you something. Oh, in COVID, and I was working this is before we moved into the house that we're at now, and I was working in the spare room of our house, and my kids were really young, like really quite young, and they were at home because they shut the schools, right? But my business didn't shut. People didn't like, their money got spent, but it was still there. They need to. Anyway, I was talking to a pretty big client of mine, and my daughter was the other side of the door, and I can't get up because I'm strapped in by this microphone, but I was on the phone with one like this, and my whole body was stretched out with my foot on the door, trying to get out of mum mode and hope that the 3-year-old is safe and not going to fall down the stairs or something awful. Equally trying to be,
equally stay out, get out.
Don't come in. I will never forget that because that was really like two worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Can you edit this? The guy on the BBC that.
Yeah, and I was like, that's not happening to
together.
Me. Yeah, just be a film the door.
Oh yeah, that's.
The spare room was small enough at that point where I could literally, one end of the room to the other end of the room.
That's good.
Yeah, it was pretty rubbish.
Have you ever? I mean, I suppose this is a bit of a silly question, but have you ever kind of given any advice and someone's been like, and then you sort of wanted to peel it back, or you wanted to be like, oh God, like, I mean, I know you're probably, I've given bad advice. You do sometimes, you don't know it until hindsight, but what's your, is there anything you've gone, oh God, like if I could change that, I would have peeled it back and done something different? Or
I mean, honestly, no. I mean, I am, like I say, the process that we go through to give somebody financial advice is quite a sort of lengthy process, and it's not just me. So I've got a whole team behind me, administrators and power planners. Power planners are worth their weight in gold because actually they stop that from happening. So me being the kind of, everything is 100 miles an hour in my world, because I want everything done yesterday and I want everything done my way. And, and if it's not done yesterday, then it's quite frankly annoying. Power planners go, hang on a minute, you haven't thought about this. So we've got this kind of fallback, these people that are just great that go, Prue, this is the report and this is what you haven't looked at. This is what you need to look at with the client. So like pensions are a good example. I know I've talked about pensions a lot, but they've got loads of random things in some of these older pensions that, my brain that skims things, and just wants to be talking to clients all day. I just wish stuff like that because it's, boring to me.
It's far more regulated than what obviously we do.
Yeah.
My industry.
I don't think I've got any regulations.
I think when you're running a business, you can't do, like I said right at the beginning, you can't do everything yourself, and you can't know every single thing about every single thing all the time because in my industry, everything changes all the time. And so you do need other people to help you. And that's why I have admin and power planners, because they stop me from ever giving bad advice.
Sometimes I write property details and then I proofread them like 8 times and then I send them like, well, that doesn't make sense.
I know.
And I'm thinking, hang on, I read that 8 times. You're like,
it is the same,
your brain sees it.
Yeah. I do the same with video editing. If I'm editing someone's video and then I'll leave like my reflection in it somewhere in a window, and it's so obvious when I look at it, I'm like, how did I see that?
Yeah.
But you said that, it was 2 years ago that you went on your own.
Well, it was just over a year that I created Ockenden Financial Planning, but 2019 was when I went back to, I've been self-employed since 2019 doing financial planning and wealth management. But just over a year ago is when I created Ockenden Financial Planning. And that's when I really started to ramp up things like just sort of creating a brand, and kind of putting everything into work.
I think the business name that you have is probably a good idea to keep it simple, though.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah. So what you have, I think, is probably a good idea. You don't want to overcomplicate it or not say exactly what it is you do.
No,
that's why. Yours is Adam Budd Property, isn't it?
Is it?
Was it?
Yeah, it was just
Adam Budd. Yes.
At least people can spell Adam Budd, though. I have the most ridiculous name.
No, it's so much cooler.
Ockenden.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my husband and his family, of course, but my maiden name was Carter. That would have been better.
Carter. Yeah. Of course, yeah. So I went to college with Grace, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Ah.
There you go. I was like, oh my God, of course. But I think that the personal brand is more powerful than the professional brand nowadays.
Yeah,
definitely. That's my own test.
We can have so many tags.
You're doing your stream on Saturday.
Yeah, I kid.
I just feel as though like I see, especially in my world, and I guess yours is a little bit tougher because it's like obviously the regulations make it trickier for people just to come in.
Not really. I think the regulation just keeps people safe. I think it's a good thing. Lots of people would moan about regulation in my industry, and I just think, don't worry about things you can't change. It is there to protect people, and it does do that. I don't see it as a barrier. It's a protection. It's a barrier in the fact that we've got to explain a lot of stuff, and people don't want to listen to it, and they think it's boring, and that can it can hinder the kind of flow of the conversation sometimes.
Is that
that's as bad as it is.
Is that a huge challenge with like with lots of people? It's like trying to keep their attention on why it's important, rather than just like where it's like the people who are intrinsically, I guess, interested.
No, because I think the people that I want to work with are the people that, see the value in it. So I've never seen myself as a salesperson, and I'm really not, because like I said to you a few times already, I just will always do the best thing for the client. So there's no selling in that, because this is the best thing for you. I'm not selling it to you. This is, I'm advising you that this is what you should do. It is there's no product to sell, and so if people see the regulation as a reason not to take the advice, then they probably shouldn't be working with a financial advisor.
Get down the bookies.
Sorry?
Get down the bookies. No, I think that's really sensible. What and what's your like? If you had to give three, I guess not three tips, but if it's, let's say people want to get planning to come in and see you, they want to kind of like, at what point do you encourage them when they set up the business? Like, or say, like, especially if you're dealing with people like directors like us.
Yeah. As soon as you start to have any sort of income coming into that business, then you should probably be taking financial planning. The financial planning will become more complicated the minute you're sort of starting to pay any sort of income or dividend tax, because then you sort of have a question mark of, okay, well, can I get money out of this company in a slightly better way? But anybody that thinks, well, I don't want to work forever, it does need to have some sort of pension planning, and it's like a gift to company directors. It's just so tax efficient for you to get money into your personal estate without paying corporation tax or income tax or dividend tax. It's in your personal estate.
So I'm paying peanuts into it. And he said, yeah. Well,
if you want to
Obviously, I'm not.
People find it boring, and they kind of disassociate themselves with it.
I think, I'm not good at it at all.
No.
So I think that's why I've distanced myself from it. And I've had a few conversations and stuff, but
we can't rely on a state pension.
No.
Our cohort, I mean, even, people older than us, they can't rely on any sort of decent state pension. You think of how much we want to increase our wealth right now because we want to buy things and do things, and we spend all of our time working. Imagine if you're not spending all your time working, how much money you're actually going to need. And we all live so much longer now.
Yeah. I think it's classic. Some of the more kind of, I guess, wealthy people I work with in terms of the high value houses and stuff, like, they're all doing clever things like buying houses in later years with son. Yeah. So that, like, it's obviously inheritance tax is a big one at the moment, isn't it? Things like that. So I do think that, as you say, like, if you get the right advice, you don't necessarily always have to take it. Yeah. But at least you can go, okay, well, she's given me 3, 4.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, yeah. And inheritance tax takes an awful lot of planning. That's really, you've got to be really thinking about that early on.
Is it like that? Oh, no, you probably can't be biased, don't worry.
No.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a really technical question, and I thought, no, you probably can't.
Let's not get too technical.
Yeah.
What is useful for a client when they come to meet me, if they want some inheritance tax planning, if they could let me know exactly when they plan to die, that's really useful.
Okay.
Most people can't answer that question, and so it makes it really difficult. So
that's deep, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, there is an app.
There probably is, yeah. I'm gonna start sending it to clients, but people don't know when they're gonna die. They don't know how long they're gonna live, obviously. So inheritance tax planning is really key.
Yeah, I can remember. Yeah.
But I mean, it's really hard to kind of say this is who should take financial planning and who shouldn't. Anybody with any sort of wealth, whether it's in property or in a business, should be speaking to some sort of financial advisor, because all of those things generate wealth. And, you know, we have incomes and we have to do something with it.
Yeah, okay.
I think the worst thing that can ever happen is you learn something.
Yeah.
You know, you learn something from, if you speak to a good financial advisor, you'll learn something from them. That's the worst thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Great.
Makes sense.
Well, I'm going to throw in not a curveball as such, but
Okay.
I'm going to ask you what?
I don't know what you're going to say now.
It's nothing crazy. So obviously this is Salisbury Business Podcast.
Yeah.
So firstly, how have you found it?
Great.
Very good. What was your first thought before you came in? Like, were you nervous?
I was a bit nervous because I'm quite a controlling person. And I didn't know exactly what you were going to ask me or what sort of format.
Can we do a controlling person counter on that?
Yeah. But I'd like to sit out. Yeah. But no, it's been really fun to talk about business and
you kind of forgot about the cameras and that kind of thing. Well, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, that's
easy.
good. It's good to know.
Very relaxed.
The other thing was, obviously we're trying to promote sort of Salisbury businesses.
Yep.
So it was to see if you could name maybe one or two of your favourite Salisbury local businesses, other than
We
being
have been in sync, because I was waiting for him to finish so I could ask the exact same question.
Okay. Oh,
really?
I was going to say, name 3 local businesses that you love the most.
Okay. I'm a food and drink kind of girl. Can I name food and drink places?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, my go-to is Tinga.
Okay.
Because I love Mexican food. I started my working life at Cactus Jack's.
Okay.
I was assistant manager at Cactus Jack's, which meant I had a key, which really was good.
Nice. I used to love
3 a.m.
I know.
Chapel.
It was. It was a really, really good place to work. So I love Mexican food. So when they opened Tinga, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere I've discovered recently is Culture Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they do. And I am a coffee addict. They do really good coffee, and they just put it on these nice little trays, So I kind of like
Tops
that.
it off. Yeah, that's good.
So that would be my 2. That would be the 2 favourite places in Salisbury. I think.
Yeah. I think, as I said, you often go to Salisbury Noticeport, don't you? And you see everyone's like coffee shops and restaurants and stuff. But I almost think like there are so many because it's what we do really well.
Yeah, and we all enjoy it, and that's the wellness world. Is business world is growing and growing and growing. And that's part of it. People going out and drinking coffee, actually, they do that, I reckon, more. I mean, I do love the pub as well. But, the silver
that's for another episode.
The silver plough Hitton is really good. But we go out and drink coffee, don't we? We do that or maybe more than we go to bars now. Or is that, have I just got older? Don't know.
Well, no.
I think you're right. Yeah, and especially because there's so many of them.
Yeah,
but I think the local coffee shops, that it's quite a different experience for like, all of the different ones that you go to as well.
Yeah,
I think the coffee shops are the people that we could do most, because you're guilty, aren't you? That like if I walk out of here and I think I want a coffee, well, I've got within 60 paces. How up to 60 piece of meters? I don't know. You've got Pret, Cafe Nero, and Costa.
I know.
And you think to yourself, like, we're all about convenience nowadays, aren't we?
I know.
So how about you all? Because their caramel latte is insane.
Yeah.
Culture coffee.
Yeah.
And so,
caramel latte.
That's
is there any coffee in there?
Yeah. It's all like
£6 ice cream.
Yeah. No wonder it doesn't pick me up. Yeah, that's actually true. I'm a proper, I love a latte. That's my.
Oh, cappuccino.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that just always all coffee?
I feel like I'm quite boring. I'm just a flat white.
Flat white, yeah. No,
is that boring?
Very sophisticated.
That's your.
The thing I don't understand about flat white is some of them, like if I go to a Costa or something like that, you ask for flat white and it comes in a normal size cup. If I go somewhere else, sometimes they're tiny.
They're meant to be small.
Oh, they are.
They are meant to be
because it's like
small.
a double espresso with some milk.
I think so.
in
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Exactly. I think. I mean, I'm not. I never worked in coffee shops. It was always bars and pubs. So I don't.
Let's get talking about tequila, and she'll be absolutely sorted.
Tequila?
Why don't you tell us more about the chapel? How was it working at the chapel?
I only did a few shifts. It was punishing because you don't start work until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I suppose that is really weird, isn't it?
Which seems mental now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I always think that. Yeah, when you think of the likes of N&N stuff, it's like. Yeah, how on earth did you go out at 10:30?
I know.
I was fucking myself in at that point.
I know now. Yeah. No,
I wasn't old
enough
enough
when the floor moved.
I wasn't old enough for N&N.
that was iconic. I don't know who owned it.
Yeah.
But if they're still around, you're coming on.
What was the one that had the fish in the floor?
And
That was new N&M bar. Yeah, but I'm older than you. Do you remember old N&M bar?
don't think so.
Which is down by, sharp practices, that road down there. I think there was like music box.
Catherine Street.
Yes, yeah. So that was the original N&M bar.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because there was
Making
one. Yeah,
me feel really old. And that was really good. I mean, that was like the hottest, sweatiest place, small place to be in. And the whole floor moved. Everyone would be on the dance floor and the whole floor would move like that. And you could touch the ceiling. The ceiling was always wet, and I'm pretty short, but you could touch the ceiling.
Wet.
Yeah. It was pretty
That's
sweaty.
gross.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah, I think I must have been 18.
I would say that the saddest change in Salisbury business has been the nightlife.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's if I could click my fingers, and we've got friends and some people that will probably be coming on here, but you look at like everyone tries so hard to make these hospitality venues work.
Yeah.
And there's just not like the current generation who are of that energy level and kind of stage of their life. Just
that nightlife thing doesn't work. It doesn't happen anymore. Well, not in Salisbury.
No.
Because I remember we used to come out at sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever it was. You'd pull up to Spoons and literally the road would be like...
Well, there'd be a huge dance floor.
Packed.
Do you know what I mean? You need the bouncers.
DJ, dance floor.
6 rows back to get some £2 Jaeger bombs.
Yeah.
And then you'd walk through the George Mile and you go to Candy Lounge and Music Box. And then you go...
There was so many, wasn't there? Yeah, and now it's just... nothing against the chapel.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah,
give us a long time.
It's just been bought by people that aren't local, and
that's it. I didn't know that. Yeah,
and look, it's obviously they're providing us service, and people are going there, but it's not the people of our age that knew what it's like in the glory days.
The other local businesses in Salisbury are thriving, and I don't know, but I would hope that maybe the pubs and the restaurants. Mm-hmm. Are getting those people, and the later nightlife doesn't really happen in Salisbury anymore, which is a bit of a shame, isn't it? Yeah.
I saw a stat. There was 30 in was it 20 years ago, like turn of the like millennium, so in 2000 there was something like 35,000 nightclubs in the UK.
Really?
There's now 900.
Wow.
So literally like
900.
Yeah, there's less than 1,000 nightclubs in the UK now.
Wow.
Like just purely who not bars.
You could go to all of them.
Yeah, not
I'm too tired
not with these energy levels. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, all this talk of nightclubs, I'm ready to go out of this.
Spoken like a true dad. No, I just it's a shame. So I think I'd love to be able to get some people who own nightclubs on, and I guess the problem is there's no. I mean, we've got the chapel, and that's about it. But
there's nowhere else that stays open later now, is there?
What's the other one? Spirit. Was Spirit still there?
Spirit was Candy Downs, wasn't it? So it went Spirit.
Yeah, well, it was Spirit Bar to me. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
it's great fun. And I mean, the Bishop's Mill, 50p vodka shots. I remember in there.
That's so
it's crazy. Isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that would be some something I'd love to speak to people about that journey over the last couple of decades. Because
well, maybe after you two have had a conversation,
we'll start another business. So you've got podcast business, nightclub business, selling houses,
Salisbury business.
How busy?
Business nightclub.
How busy do you want to be?
Yeah. It's just their spending habits, isn't it? Everyone's changed. But,
so I think the last thing was to obviously we're doing this local charity thing. So we are gonna Salisbury Business Podcast is gonna donate £100 to a charity of your choice.
So I decided to pick Wiltshire Creative. Because I'm not creative at all. So I really feel like I should support that part of the world. And I just take from that industry and the fact that I just want to go and see the pantos, I want to go and see the shows. But they do some really great things, getting people involved and getting young people on the stage and supporting them. And, they put on the Sleeping Beauty panto, which I went to see, which was brilliant. So that's why I picked them.
Cool. Yeah, brilliant.
Well, excellent. We'll link all this. I'm assuming they've got handles.
I've got their bank details already.
Okay. Oh, excellent. Yeah. We'll do it right now.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. And obviously, again, just love to get some exposure out to these because there's so many people doing such great things, and that's not one that I'm overly aware of. So so that's
well,
great.
I don't know a lot because I'm not creative. So there we go.
You're controlling. You're not
I
creative.
know, but I'm brilliant at financial planning.
Yeah.
We weren't going to do USPs. You remember?
Just naturally listen to all of you. Yeah. I like that. No,
So I've got 2 more curveballs. It's not actually a curveball. It's just a new thing that we're going to do.
Okay.
we might have
Oh, yeah. We've lost one camera, but that's fine. We've got 2 others. So the other thing is we're going to do a leaderboard for darts. So,
gosh.
you know Top Gear? And when they have a race around the circuit?
Yeah.
We're going to do the same thing, but with darts. So every guest that comes on,
Are you going to make me shoot some darts?
they're going to throw 3 darts.
So I was in is it the 5 Bells, the one off Salt Lake Harbor?
Oh, yeah.
Quite a while ago now, maybe like last summer, with 2 friends of mine, Beth and Creasy, who's the solicitor, and Amy Hancock, who loads of people will know. Yeah. And there was a load of people in there teaching me how to play darts, and I can confirm that I didn't hit the dartboard, even after people tried to help me. So
Okay.
how worried are you about your wall?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Well, I've got a big ring around thing, so I'm hoping you can
I'm going to try and get it somewhere near. Okay.
Yeah. So what was it? Highest score after in 2024 gets 23.5.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Yeah, but I thought we could have that leaderboard.
Okay.
Of like, and you get 3 darts.
So this reflects I'm the first. So
You are the
I could
first.
have been
You're setting
practicing on my
standards.
son's dartboard. You know, obviously everyone else is
That'd
going to
be
get to
cheating.
practice.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
And then do we have a go and just like
We
beat the host or something?
Yeah. Oh, beat the host. Yeah. I'm quite easily beaten, even though I've got the dartboard.
You've got a dartboard in your office.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any difference.
Really?
Yeah, you'd probably still.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we did also mention about getting the guest to ask the next guest a question. So if you think of a question for our next guest.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the Salisbury business networking world, what would you change?
Okay. I thought you were going to say Salisbury Business Podcast.
I was going to say, yeah.
Absolutely not.
I don't know, change the host. Yeah.
You can pick 2 new hosts.
I like that. Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for coming, and obviously, we'll link all of Prue's socials in the descriptions and everything. Yeah. And obviously, appreciate you coming on and
thanks for having me.
Yeah, and what the clip will end to now is it will show the highlight of how you did in the darts.
Yeah. And also maybe your video that you're going to record by the end of next week.
Oh yes,
And we.
Thanks for reminding me.
All right,
cool.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Oh. Hey, they all got on the board.
3 times.
When we get in the flow of it, we'll need some sort of jingle.
Salisbury Business Podcast. Salisbury Business Podcast.
Whoa, just off the cuff?
Yeah.
Did you just think of that?
What is that though? Why
I'm kidding. It's shit.
Thank you.
No. This scene is horrible.
look.
My arm is literally dead.